Thank you for joining us today on the podcast of Understanding Behavioral Health, where we will be going into different programs that the Yakama Nation Behavioral Health does provide for the Yakama Nation Reservation and surrounding areas. My name is Jordan Maninik.
My name is Bob Joashio.
My name is Rachel Gregg.
And today we have our special guest.
Hi everyone, Nachya George. Just want to thank these guys for having me here with you guys today. I'm excited to be here to share information about our program and what we have to offer the community and different resources and support services we have for the people on the reservation and the surrounding areas.
Nice. So you are a grant manager that runs a grant and runs actually a whole program. What program is that?
So I'm, like I mentioned, the project manager of our Systems of Care program. So if you're at all familiar with behavioral health services, you know that we have a ton of different in-house programs. So our specific grant provides services for children, youth, and families. Our target population is birth to age 21. And so the services that we provide are wraparound services for those that have an SED or SMI, so a serious emotional disturbance or a serious mental illness. And then with the wraparound services, another eligibility criteria is that they're in need of receiving services for more than one system. So it could be like child welfare, education, and then mental health services. So if you guys could see on the document that I shared with you all, the Systems of Care wraparound one pager, it has the wraparound model that we utilize, and so you can kind of see the spectrum of services that are included in our wraparound care model. So it's anything from community supports to social services, vocational services, education services, cultural services and supports, of course mental health, and then substance abuse services, health, recreation, and then juvenile justice, to name a few.
Nice.
So I know that you've been part of the grant already for a while. Was there a specific reason why you applied for this grant or this position that you're in? Or
Yes, actually, prior to receiving the Systems of Care grant, we had obtained the Circles of Care grant, which was a 3-year infrastructure development grant. So that was an extremely data-driven grant. It was all about identifying what we have here in the community, getting the community's input on the different services and supports that are currently here and areas to improve on, identifying what mental health and wellness is and what that would look like here. And so we were able to capture a lot of really good data in regard to where we stand as a community and what people's knowledge is as to what we all have available and ready for our community. So that was the first grant that we received, and so that was not a direct service grant. That was just like I said, infrastructure development grant. So no direct services were provided with that grant, but after the Circles of Care grant, you were supposed to transition into the Systems of Care program. So that was kind of like the segue for Kathy, our director, to apply for the SOC grant. So so we moved forward after we wrapped up Circles of Care. We applied for the Systems of Care and utilized all that good information and data that we captured within those 3 years to kind of paint the picture of what service delivery should look like and identify the needs of our specific communities.
So if you're sitting with somebody individually and say they're your friend or your family, and we know we're so comfortable with each other and we could speak to each other individually at a patient basis, and you learning all this data, what was the main thing that caught your attention to be passionate about providing these services for them, to know that this would really help them, what we provide really would impact their life?
So I think with some of the data that we captured, one thing that really caught my attention and stuck with me was the huge lack of awareness of people, the community members' knowledge of what we all have here. But when you talk about what makes me passionate and motivated to do this work, it's because we have so much here. So it's we identified that there's a lack of awareness when it comes to like the community members' knowledge of what services and supports we have here for the people. But also we did a lot of like community systems analysis too within that grant, and so we were able to see like all of the different programs and resources, support services that we have as a tribal nation, but also like just in the community in general. So different state programs as well. And so we have a lot here. And so I think that was really like the motivating factor of like, all right, like there's a lot of services and supports to help our people here. It's just spreading the word and raising awareness about what's available. And then with this grant, we're able to help them navigate through all the different systems and services to get them connected to what they're needing to be connected to achieve overall health and wellness.
You know, as you say, or as you were saying, like, there was a lack of awareness here in the community. Like, I kind of understand that because previously working for behavioral health, I did work for the casino, and I'm mostly indoors. I mostly did customer service, working with the community in that way, and I knew there was a thing of DV. I knew there was a thing of sexual assault and stuff like that, but I didn't realize how often it happened, how much it affected our community until I came here. And, you know, working with behavioral health, I see a lot of awareness that needs to happen within our community. So it's crazy just like how much that stands out.
All right. I know some of these grants are still kind of like brand new to the program too, but you guys been with the grant for quite a while, right?
Yeah, so the Circles of Care grant was a 3-year grant, and this grant we have 4 years. And so, yeah, we're going to carry on with this work, and then hopefully we can sustain the program after our SAMHSA grant funding ends. Good.
So I know you guys do provide like a wraparound service, but what else do you guys provide? I know you guys just had a big event that just happened not too long ago.
Oh, yeah, okay. So I guess one thing that I forgot to introduce to you guys was the remaining staff members. It's not just me and myself that does this work. We actually have a pretty good-sized team. So it's myself as the project manager, project director, and then we actually have a community cultural coordinator, Atwais Kamaikan, and then a youth engagement coordinator, Jacoby Howe, a social marketing and communications specialist, Rachel Gregg, and then we have a lead family care coordinator, Andrea French, and then our system of care navigator, Lucy Brown. So that's the makeup of our team, all of our team members for systems of care. And so we all have a different role that we play on the grant. I, of course, oversee the entire program, but when it comes to the direct services component, that's where the community will be working directly with Andrea French and Lucy Brown. And then our community cultural coordinator, she provides different cultural support services. We make her available to our clinical staff to do cultural consultation. So if there's clients that are wanting to get engaged in cultural services or supports to aid in helping them with their mental health and wellness, then that's what she's there for, to get them connected to those cultural services and supports that are happening in the community, whether it's like Sweat Lodge, they want to, get more in touch with their culture, like go to Wash It services, Shaker services. So just kind of being that elder for community members, I guess, that don't really have one. We actually have 2 there, but that's the one that we have specifically under systems of care. So we're really grateful to have her there as a cultural resource for the department. Also for the community, she puts herself out there to be available for any of the community members that are wanting to get more in touch with their culture.
And I do want to say that Atwais she did some cultural competency, well, not just for the community, but for the behavioral health staff too. And, so we were able to get them to go huckleberry picking, did, the feast, express that, the giveaway, they got to go through all of that and, understand, a little bit of our culture and what that means to be for gathering our foods and stuff like that, which was really great for Atwais to be a part of that.
I agree. I think it's really cool to have our director Kathy too on board with the whole integrating cultural healing practices into our service delivery over in the clinical building. So I think that was a huge step in the right direction with doing that.
Yeah.
So even though you did talk about some of the services that are provided, is there more of what you guys do for services?
Yeah, so I actually have some information to share with you guys, a little PowerPoint that'll kind of go over systems of care and like the approach itself, just that way you guys can kind of get a better painted picture of what it is, what systems of care stands for. So if we could pull up the PowerPoint slide to slide 5. I'll go ahead and read a brief definition we like to share. So this is just a quick systems of care definition. Systems of care is a spectrum of effective community-based services and supports for children and youth with or at risk for mental health or other challenges and their families. That is organized into a coordinated network, builds meaningful partnerships with families and youth, and addresses their cultural and linguistic needs in order to help them function better at home, in school, in the community, and throughout life. So in other words, it's an organized way for everybody, not just the professionals, providers, or clinicians, but to work together and help children and youth who are experiencing challenges to wellness. So we all come together to the table to support the family so that the children and youth and families don't fall between the cracks. This way they get this way they get the kind of unique help that they need and build on their strengths without jumping through a lot of unneeded policy hoops.
Nice.
So kind of diving a little bit further into the systems of care framework, we have here a different picture on slide 7, the systems of care principles and systems of care values. So I kind of already touched on these, but I think it is really important to see like the holistic care services and care coordination that we're able to provide with this grant, because it's important to address all these different things when somebody's working towards overall health and wellness. So we don't just specifically focus on mental health. There's so many things that are interrelated and intertwined that affect the person's overall well-being. So again, this is the care model here. Community support, social services, educational services, vocational services, and then you can see the rest of them on there. And so those are what the care model looks like and the different services and supports that we're able to connect our clients to. And then just a little bit more information about the systems of care philosophy and values. So systems of care provides the foundation for infrastructure development and service delivery and includes core values and guiding principles. So the thing with like the services that we provide, we're big on they're all family and youth driven. So we're not the experts in their care plans, they are. So everything is like coming from them. They tell us what they need and we just help them get there. And so family and youth driven is a big value. Again, community based. We listen to our community to improve our processes and the work that we're doing. And then of course, we value culturally, ensuring that our program is run and is culturally and linguistically competent. So again, family driven and youth guided. So we are using the strengths and the needs of the individual children and families that we're working with. The youth and family, like I mentioned, are the experts on their situations and what they're dealing with at that given moment that we're working with them. And then we empower the youth and family to use their expertise to guide and drive their own care, and then shape the broader system in partnership with professional experts. So we're all coming together to work with the families and youth and service providers.
Nice.
All right. It's a lot of information. That's
Yeah.
good information. So let's say you guys provide all these services. Who benefits from these services and who's eligible for these services?
So our target population is birth to 21, so 0 to 21. If you have a youth that falls into that age range, then they qualify for a program if they have an SED or SMI. So if someone's experiencing a serious emotional disturbance or serious mental illness.
Okay, so you say the serious emotional disturbance or the behavioral changes, like what does that look like?
So that's really literally like any mental health issue that they might be dealing with or facing, they would qualify for receiving services. There's also one thing that we've been seeing is like people who are at risk. We still will open our door to let them come and like, see if it would be a good fit if they do get connected to mental health services. Mm-hmm. So even people who are not like officially like diagnosed with a mental health illness or a mental health issue, but they're dealing with all these different system level challenges and barriers to navigating the systems, then we can still meet with them and talk about it, and then try to get them connected to whatever services and supports that they're needing.
So what are like some mental health issues?
Such as like anxiety, depression, psychosis, any type of behavior issues that they're dealing with, those would all count as an SED and SMI.
And they had to be diagnosed. They get diagnosed through you guys, or they get diagnosed through someone
Yeah,
else?
so we have weekly staffings with our clinical director, June West, and she does that component. She's the clinical oversight for the program, and so she does the diagnosing.
So I have a son. I have a son. He's 9 years old. Last year he was diagnosed with autism. So would he qualify for this program?
Yes, he would. So yeah, we actually have had cases where they do have autism, and we are limited on types of services and supports that we provide in-house. But what we're able to do is, you do qualify just based on that, and then you need to be connected to, say you need to be connected to different services and supports as well. Then we can help with that too. So like the ones that we do have, those are the matters that are discussed about the case with June West. And then we refer out as needed to specialty doctors if they're needing to, see a specialist for certain diagnoses or certain different mental health disorders or issues and challenges that they're dealing with. Then we're able to help them get to where they need to go, instead of like, our clinical director being like, oh, you need to go here because we don't do that. And then it's like, well, geez, like how do they know, how to get there? And so we're able to bridge that gap and, help connect the dots. And so like, a lot of times we do get external referrals that are, recommended per our program, our clinical director. And so it'll be like, oh, they need to go get a psych evaluation over here. And so we're able to, okay, like let's get in contact with so-and-so and then connect them from point A to point B.
So I see that you're talking about getting to point A to point B. Do you guys provide services to transport them there too as well?
We don't provide transportation services. What I think a way that we try to address transportation, of course, was another thing that we identified through our Circles of Care grant as a barrier to people wanting to receive services or like participate in anything in the community that's happening. So one thing that we do to address that is to meet the community where they're at. So like a lot of times we'll get clients who can't come directly to our office, and so Andrea and Lucy are pretty open to meet them wherever they're at. Like if they're from White Swan, Lucy will drive to White Swan and meet with them. We kind of try to literally meet them where they're at, just so that we don't lose them.
Oh, that's good.
Nice.
And then I heard a few times about referrals. Is there a way to be referred to your
Yes,
grant?
we do have a referral process. So I do actually have that document that I want to share with you all as well. Let me just pull it up real quick. Okay, so I have our SOC enrollment, or SOC, workflow. And so I'll go over that with you guys. Kind of just explains what the workflow looks like. If they're there's two different doors that they could come through. And so let me see, just one moment. Here, actually. Okay, so as you guys can see, door one is a child and family referred by either a partner agency, or it could be by a community member, directly to the Systems of Care program. So that's the door one. And then what that would look like is Yakama Nation Behavioral Health Services Systems of Care team. So it'll be either Andrea or Lucy who will do it. They'll collect the evaluation consent forms, and then complete the Yakama Nation Behavioral Health Services intake packet. And then we'll enter that into our database system. And then the family is contacted by our care navigators. So Lucy and Andrea will contact the family directly and kind of talk to them about like what's going on. Let them know, we received a referral for this and that, and then try to get the family engaged and connected to meet with them, and then they'll schedule an initial family meeting with the client and their family. And so that's what it looks like when somebody is referred. They call them, connect them, try to schedule a meeting, either in office or, like I said, they're pretty good about going to meet the clients where they're at. After that, we'll do weekly case staffings with our clinical director. So every Thursday we staff the cases. And so if these guys were able to have the initial family meeting, then they capture enough information to staff that case. And then June will assign them to a therapist over at the behavioral health program, the clinical office.
You want to know who access those services? And then the public? Or like how they get...
So no, so we're talking about the referral process and the application process, right? And then once they come in, what would the person expect for the intake process? Is there how long it takes or whatever?
So I would say the intake process could take anywhere from like 30 minutes up to an hour for the behavioral health services intake packet, because we do the whole packet during that initial meeting with them. And so, yeah, but the referral form itself, when we're talking about like referral form, we do have a specific referral form that is super short and like, you know, just very straight to the point of like why you're wanting to refer that family to our program, and like a little synopsis of like what's going on and how we can help them. And so that's like a pretty short one. I actually didn't bring that one, but when we're doing outreach and stuff, that's the form that you'll see. You'll see like this one pager,
It's
the
a one
wraparound
page.
form, and then you'll see the referral form.
I work with system of care, so it's like the easiest and understanding thing that you could have. Like that's why I referred to a few people to our systems of care, because how it is explained to me is that we practically hold the individual's hand through the services, like letting them understand what behavioral health is, and that we care about their mental health, and that the people that we work with are amazing individuals, and getting them then comfortable with the people that are going to help them. And they're very kind-hearted and open-minded people and non-judgmental. It's kind of how I see it and how I explain it when I introduce our program and saying it's wraparound. And then, well, what do you help with? And then I'm always targeting like the educational part, the mental health part, any of those things, just by saying like, yeah, we're willing to help. And then it's not like something that's killer and you have to, you know, a whole book to write down all what's going on with you. It's really basic and simple. Like definitely a one pager. I could do it on my computer and just email it to Lucy and she'll have the information and then she'll reach out. And that's pretty much like the gist of it. And then getting an intake, if they need like clinical benefits from us, that intake takes that 30 minutes to an hour, depending on their response and how they react to the questions.
Okay. So I guess my question too is, you know, because you guys, or because Systems of Care says, okay, we will help you and get you referrals to these programs, but you have to want it. What if you don't know what you want or what you need, but you do know you need help? Like, what does that look like? Or how do you, like, can you guys say, hey, this is what we noticed, and this is what we think other programs you would benefit utilizing, you know, for yourself or for the child.
So again, this is all supposed to be like child, youth, and family driven, and so that's like the hard part, I think, as like, you know, for like providers and stuff, is we want to tell people what they need, but like we really, it is a skill, you know, to have to not, but try to like show them what's available, you know, like this is what is all available, like different services and supports, and then they can kind of be like grab onto like what they think, like, well, like you can help connect me to education services, okay, like maybe I can look into like going to school, or you know, like just kind of sharing that information and knowledge of like that holistic care model that we're following is kind of like a segue into them pulling different pieces to, you know, achieve their health and wellness, or just you know, get connected to different things that will help them in the long run with their overall health and wellness. So
Okay, so basically they do the intake, and then you like say, okay, this is everything that we offer. Now you choose what you want to do.
Yeah, and then in the intake form, there is actually one of the questions is specific to like, how can we help you? And so we do already have background of like, they obviously have something going on because that's why the person filled out the
Yeah,
referral.
right,
So like we
right.
address that first and foremost, and then after that, it's opening the door to like let's show them what else we're able to help connect them to, and then they decide, you know, what they want to engage in and what they want to be connected to, things that'll help them.
So, okay, so now you did the intake, you got the person going, you know, you got your referral processes going for the client, you know, that you're working with, to whatever it is that they need help with. How do you know when a client is done? Does the client decide, okay, I'm done, I don't need your help, you guys gave me everything that you guys could possibly give, and that's it? Or do you guys say, or are you guys like, okay, we're going to work with you, but we can only work with you this much, so once we get here, then, you know, you're on your own?
So per like SAMHSA and the grant, they would like us to keep our clients engaged for a minimum of 6 months. That can be tricky if there's people who come in specifically for like one or two things that get hashed out and addressed pretty quickly. So it is kind of like at their discretion. You know, we try to keep them engaged for at least a 6-month duration. But if they're not, if they have like, oh, I only needed help with this and that, and you already helped me, then we kind of just, you know, follow up with them and just let them, like, how are things going? Like, is there anything I can help you with? Like, follow-ups and stuff like that. But it is more so kind of at their discretion, I guess you could say.
So, going back again to the referrals, anybody from any other grants or other programs, they can access your guys' referrals through the website, or do you guys have a specific place?
So our program doesn't have a website, but that's why we're big on like outreach and like marketing our program and posting it to like different platforms and just trying to have a presence in the community to get this information out there. We also put it in our newspaper too, so that information's out there about the program, contact information for anybody who wants to call and, you know, get connected to our program. Then we would kind of walk them through that. But yes, I would love to have a program website one day. That would be awesome with like direct links directly to the referral form and everything like that. But right now we don't have a program website, so.
But you were talking about platforms. What platforms do you guys use? And you guys they're able to get all the information from that. So what platforms are you guys using right now?
So I'll pass that to our social marketing.
That'd be a question for me. So we have Facebook for Yakama Nation. It's YN Behavioral Health. And then we have Instagram. That's YN_BH. And then we have a Snapchat. That's also YNBH on Snapchat. So those are the main three. When any kind of information or any event or anything needs to be, that's where they contact me. I got a lot of direct messaging in regards to some people being needing our services, and I kind of direct them on which ones they want. If they're anybody under 21 and under, I certainly target them to systems care first, because like I said, that process is so simple to get a referral and sending it to Lucy or Dre and letting her know that that's what I've just done, and then them being able to get contacted right away, because I know that they're on they're on their toes and ready to help people right away. And then I have to know everybody else's program in regards to like what age groups, such as healthy transitions and targeting 16 through 24 and so on and so forth, and clinicals and the VRP. So the social media is a huge platform in regards to people coming in and the traffic of the different type of people, whether it's elders and adults and young people. And a lot of young people utilize the social media, so they'll feel comfortable direct messaging you there and just being able to talk. And that's me, like, not being judgmental. I'm like, I'm not here to judge you. Like, I'm willing to help you. And I'll share a piece of some of trauma that I've been through. Like, I come from 2 major alcoholic parents, and who knows what kind of drugs they did. I don't know. I was young when all this happened. And let them just be relatable to them and sit there and talk, and conversations could go from, okay, now what can you do for me? So then it's just me being a comforting social media person and letting them know who they're talking to. Like we're, guided by the HIPAA law, so it's not like I could tell you who's trying to come through and be like, and spread all their information.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I get down and letting people come through our door. Like, it's really like a passion of knowing, because when I was young, like this was like traumatic. Like the words, "you're gonna go see a counselor," was harsh. Like I seen my little sister flip out one time. Like I don't want to go see a counselor. You're gonna call me crazy, or you're gonna call me, psycho, or say all these things about like all these things all these negative things that we've seen like on the TV or social media and stuff like that, when all they're doing is trying to build and strengthen your mental health in regards to what we don't see on a daily basis, especially if you don't have a foundation, especially when you come from major alcoholic parents, especially when they're not there for you days on end. I came here and I learned, like, you're literally living off a survival mode, learning how to survive by yourself as a young person. And that's why they say they're super resilient, because of the fact that they adjust to like their own environment and then what they're used to. Like, I'm only used to having food at this time, or I know when the first of the month came is when my mom had food stamps. I knew when the first of the month came, my mom had money, but I never knew how much money she had. And I came up from 7 family. There's 7 of us. We're all surviving. We're all trying to survive. And we knew, like, if the first of the month came, my mom was gone. Like, she was going to be gone on Bender for a whole week. And we're sitting there like, she made sure there was food, but she didn't understand, like, that food probably going to last us like 2-3 days. And she was gone for a whole week. And so just discussing those situations with a young person and letting them know, like, I understand where you come from. I'm 38 years old, and I still struggle with a lot of people and, like, the things that I go through, and telling them, like, man, if you don't take care of your mental health, you're not going to be able to move from that young person that you're sitting at a table and not be able to adjust your life and educate your life and want to do something better for yourself than where you came from. That's hard to tell them that. I tell my kids that all the time. My daughter's 5, my son's 12, and I had this huge conversation with him saying, like, son, you could be better than where you're at right now. And he doesn't see that. He's just like, I'm just living here for this day right now, at this moment.
Yeah. Definitely. One day it's going to click in his head. Now I understand what my mom was talking about.
Definitely. That's, it's just like, they look at TikTok, they look at, what is the other one? I don't do Twitter. They do Twitter. He looks at YouTube a lot. So it's just like, this messaging right now being on a platform for YouTube will be something he may come across, something that sticks out, and he'll be like, what? My mom's on YouTube right now. Like, what is that about? Like,
she's got 100 views.
And right now, the one thing that is, that I'm attracting in my own community, as being in my own family community anyways, is all the females. All my nieces are just like, that's my auntie. And they call me Sugar, so that's my Auntie Sugar. And I don't ever realize that I'm just sitting there having a comfortable conversation with them so that they could tell me what's going on in their life. I just want to know what's going on with you. Yeah. I want to know that, I love you. And they'll be like, what do you do for work? And then I tell them this long old title, and they're like, holy cows, what's that mean? They hear social marketing, and then that's like, oh, is that like social media? And then I'm just like, I do a lot on social media, so I'm telling them, like, this is what I do. And they're like, well, what's behavioral health? And so I'd love to talk about, like, behavioral health isn't something traumatic. It's not something that's going to, traumatize you. It's something that's going to help you and strengthen your mind. It's kind of just what I tell them, easy as that. And they're like, what? I could be smarter, and I could be, faster. And it's like exercising that muscle for yourself. And they're young people are amazing. Like, and it's so comfortable for them to get with me as their auntie compared to them going to talk to their mother. And that's the vice versa for my own son. We seen him at the volleyball game the other day. He didn't even sit by us. He went and sat by 2 different other parents. And it was because he wanted to go and introduce himself and tell him that he was there. Like, hey, Ty's mom. Oh, okay. And then the other one was his friend Joaquin's mom. And he sat there the whole time. And I said, why'd you go sit over there, son? He's like, because they were sitting by themselves. And I was like, oh, wow. And that's something that he's like, well, you've always taught me to go, introduce myself to people and let them know I'm around. And so that's just one trait that he has in common for himself. And it's so fun. Oh, man, it's just amazing. Like, kids are amazing. And that's why I love our program, just for the fact that we provide services for those that are struggling, that don't know their foundation yet, that don't have that foundation to say, like, this is what I want. And a lot of our youth people come from the schools, and then that's where we're targeting them, is because their safe place or their safe haven could be at school.
Yeah.
And talking to an adult and being like, hey man, like, this is what I'm going through. I had a counselor in the high school. Like, I never knew I was going to go to college ever in my life. And my counselor was like, what are you going to do after school? Like, you're on track to graduate. And nobody helped me to be on track. It was just my motivation and my ambition to be like, I'm not gonna fail. I'm not gonna flunk. I'm not gonna drop out. I had so many friends dropping out, getting pregnant, doing drugs, and doing all this stuff. I was like, I just kept telling myself, even after losing my mom, like, I'm not gonna drop out. And so she asked me, like, what are you gonna do? I was like, I don't know. Like, I haven't even thought that far ahead. And that's the mentality you have to think that we deal with. And that's why this service is important, to build their strength, especially their mental health, and letting them know, like, man, you could go far if you just utilize this one tool here. And then you could have all these other people around you that aren't going to judge you, ain't going to spit on you, ain't going to, want to see you fail. Like, everybody that works in behavioral health wants to see you win. They lose a little bit of that passion sometimes, but you light them again, and they're ready to go, and they're willing to help. I mean, that's what we're sitting here at this table for, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I wanted to just touch on real quick that I think is important is that we don't only connect our clients directly to Yakama Nation Behavioral Health Services. We can connect to other mental health agencies. It's at their own, whatever they're wanting to be connected to, we connect them to, because what we see a lot is, like, small communities, so much stigma still that we're trying to, like, address in our community to destigmatize mental health, but it's still there. Like, it's still there right now. So, like, a lot of times people don't want to, like, be seen walking through, like, our doors, or it's like, oh, they know all the clinicians, like, we're all related. So we are able to connect them to other outside mental health agencies as well, if that's something that they are wanting and requesting. So we don't only connect to our own mental health services. It's wherever they would like to go, we can help get them there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, thank you guys for partaking. Well, not just you guys, but Shia, for coming in today and being a part of, our first podcast. I know we were in the works of getting this done quite some time ago, but hey, better late than never. We got to start somewhere, right? Wait, wasn't there something for healthy transitions?
Yeah, so we actually have one more event that's going to be talked about, and it's not part of the SOC grant. It's part of the Healthy Transitions. So they are going to be doing a 3K virtual walk, and it's walk, hike, run, anywhere challenge. Basically, the 3K is approximately 1.8 miles, 2 miles if you like to challenge yourself a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So it started already from what I understand, and it's the target age is the youth and young adults. From what I was told is that they're doing the high school first, or all the schools first, Wapto, White Swan, and Toppenish. And then from what I heard as well, after that they're gonna do an in-person event to hand out rest of the shirts. So if you want to get part of the walk, you can call or email VanessaWilliams@yakama.com. So it'll be Vanessa_Williams@yakama.com. So she'll be the contact person for that. So if you guys haven't signed up, you guys should sign up.
Cool. Well, I believe, we're coming to a wrap once again. My name's Jordan Maninik, and I work with the Yakama Nation Behavioral Health Victims Resource Program.
And I'm Baba Joe Ashu, and I also work with the Yakama Nation Victim Resource Program as a victims advocate.
And I'm Rachel Gray. I work for Yakama Nation Behavioral Health Systems of Care Grant as a social marketing communication specialist.
Can you say that 5 times fast?
Not even.
And then this is once again, this is our special guest.
Yes, I am Nachya George, project manager for the Systems of Care program at Behavioral Health Services as well.
All right, thank you.